Well, howdy there, pipe pals. Good evening. Salutations. I'm gonna just turn this one here off. Okay. Just want to get framed there, in the frame there. Okay. Well, I'm back with just a kind of a not a rant, just a random discussion pipe video on a Monday evening with one of my favorite pipes. This was my very first Dunhill, brand new Dunhill that I ever bought many years ago, about 5-6 years ago. At the Briar Patch in Sacramento, at the Arden Fair Mall, when they still had a store there. And I remember really wanting to get this cherry wood, brand new cherry wood, little legacy dot there. She's a good girl. And I remember, interestingly enough, it was one of my times when I was starting that intermittent fasting. And I remember going in there, and they gave me some Blue Mountain to try. And I think I had a little bit of coffee with me. And the thing I really liked about the Briar Patch, and I guess, and even the Briar Patches today, and most really good tobacco shops, they're gonna let you, sample, as long as you don't like overdo it, I guess. But I mean, if you're really sincere in buying and you're a good customer, they have no problems at all. In fact, I think they really encourage you to try different blends. And remember, I think it was Matthew, either Matthew or Sean, at the time they were working there. They said, "Hey, would you like to try some Blue Mountain?" And I said, sure. It smelled wonderful. And I couldn't believe how delicious it really, truly was. And with the coffee, marrying it up with the coffee that I had, it was phenomenal. And so when I was fasting, I really did enjoy coffee and, of course, Blue Mountain. But tonight, I am smoking for the very first time, and I have to say I'm very delighted. This is Sillums in the Blue Can. You may remember I did a box opening about a week ago, and I did not know they made Sillums in the blue. That bleu. So I assumed that this is a berry-flavored tobacco, and I have to tell you that it is indeed, and the tobacco is very, very tender and moist and toasty, delicious. Has a nice, the tin aroma is very, very light and delicious. And unlike the Sillums in the green can or the red can that kind of take you, at least took me back and kind of made me kind of question my palate, I'm enjoying this right out of the tin. And I'm also going to now be taking the other 3 new cans, and I'm going to cellar them properly this time so they don't completely dry out. Had a question from somebody. They said, do you use distilled water when you rehydrate tobacco? That's what I do. I basically do a little spritz and then kind of reseal it, and that seems to bring it back quite a bit. Although I know some purists might be shocked at that or feel like, oh gosh, you're going to ruin your tobacco. And you can't do it maybe more than a couple of times, because then the tobacco kind of becomes a little insipid, I'd have to say. But for the most part, it works. And if you're like halfway through a tin and you intend to probably smoke it up, within a week or so, I think it's a perfectly good practice. I know other people would have hesitancy of doing that. I think some people put distilled water like on a sponge maybe, and then put it in the tobacco. In the olden days, they used to put slices of apple or fruit in your tobacco, but that could quickly cause mildew. So anyway, but that's what I do, and I've never had any real problems. So I don't, am I recommending that you do that? And then you do it and you ruin a nice tin of tobacco that you've been cellaring for a long time, and maybe it it dries out really quickly because you open it. It gets exposed to the air, and kind of like a mummy, it starts to dry up really fast. So I'm not telling you to do that. So Pipe Pals, if you do that, you do that on your own, okay? Because I don't want anybody saying, you said to do this and it ruined my tobacco. I know, hey, you know what? You're an adult. So, I just tell you what I do, and if you find that helps, great. So, but anyway, that's one nice thing about tobacco. For the most part, it can be, in most instances, if it's dried out a little bit, you can be rehydrated. So, yeah. Got a Softy Bit here. Looked at one of old Northwest pipe smokers videos. Always liked Tom. He's just such a kind of a guy that, up there in the old Northwest, and he has that little cabin there, and he sits there, and sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's snowing, sometimes it's hot as hell, I guess. I don't know if it gets too hot up there. Anyway, but Tom's always taking these older pipes. Nothing really fancy, but they're like good outdoor work pipes. And the last video I saw, which was a recent one, he was putting Softy Bits on there. Tom likes the Softy Bits. And somebody asked me the other day in one of my comments, what did I think of Softy Bits? And I like Softy Bits. Getting a problem with the radio again. It's when I didn't even know what Softy Bits were until I joined the YouTube pipe community. That's one of the things that you learn about different things about the hobby. And one of those was Softy Bits. And I like Softy Bits. Now, somebody said, well, they kind of prefer the feel of the stem without a Softy Bit, and I do too. It's kind of like it's just a nice feeling. That's all I'm going to say. Now, I'm a clencher. I do tend to clench. I don't usually talk like this a lot of times. Sometimes I do. I think if I was a daily pipe smoker, and I could, if I was in a place where people accepted it and it didn't, maybe was much of a stigma maybe, and I was a daily pipe smoker, and I've met a lot of priests that are pipe smokers, but I mean, a lot of priests do smoke pipes or cigars. But again, in this day and age, being an outdoor smoker, you can't smoke in the office. I mean, I can smoke this is my private quarters, so I mean, there's probably going to be somebody that might say, well, you really shouldn't do that because, the next guy coming in, he may not like the you know, the fact that it was a house that was used by a pipe smoker. Well, I don't smoke that much, and even in my other place, and plus, usually the MO is you try to at least repaint it for the next guy. They didn't do that for me, but I didn't ask for it, and the only thing I think I've asked for since I've been here is a new washer, a new dishwasher, and I got that, and a fence, and the fence was falling down, and I love the fence back there, and in fact, I really should be making this video outside, but anyway, I hesitate. Maybe next time I'll do an outdoor video. But anyway, I like Softy Bits, and they have a place. And again, there's a time when I just like that really nice, clean feel of the original pipe stem. You know, some pipe stems are really, they just feel nice. There's a certain feeling to that, as opposed to this. If you're going to be a chomper and you're going to do a lot of talking, or just kind of maybe you're working in the shop, or maybe you're typing or something, you know, you just want to have a pipe, you know. So a Softy Bit can really be a friend, but I can do either or. So if I'm kind of like sipping on a tobacco and I'm just really just kind of really trying to, you know, taste it. It's you know, I like that nice clean feel of the stem there, especially after they've been polished and they're just really, you know, all the oxidation's off, and yeah, that's really that's in that there's just something about that. It feels like a new pipe, and so I do enjoy that too. Okay, so my first impression of Silums in the blue can. Definitely give this a 7 right out of the old corral there. I want to kind of see how the harmonic overtones burn down and see kind of what's going on. I think Padre Piper highly recommended this, that it's a good summertime blend. So if you're watching, good sir, I think you're right. I agree with you. So there are some fruity notes there, which I enjoy. It seems to burn pretty cool, and it's not one of these heavily cased or, you know, heavily topped tobaccos at all. Excuse me. So if you're a person that kind of likes aromatics, fruity aromatics, you might enjoy this. It's quite tasty. I will say that. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I just said that, and I will say that. Yes. A lot of people said some really nice comments about my little Father's Day tribute. I'm glad you liked it. I have fun doing those sometimes when I really like to, you know, spend some extra time and just have some fun with the program. And again, like I said, I could spend a lot of time just playing with Final Cut Pro and Photoshop and LumaFusion, and just you know, really just trying to have fun, you know, getting my fingers dirty with all the techno stuff. I love that. I had an interesting question, and I apologize. I'm not doing shout outs tonight. I should. I did just want to put a shout out though. I do want to do one shout out for sure, because I didn't do it last time. Oh my goodness, I'm now drawing blank. The Gentleman Scholar. Yeah, he sent a nice card the other day. I wish I had it. It was just a wonderful card. In fact, yes, in fact, anyway, I'll leave that for another time. But I wish I had that card. But it was just really, he likes to make cards. If you get a Gary card, a Gap card, it's kind of unique. And, you know, we don't really do, you know, pen to paper correspondence anymore. it's all e stuff, and you know, or more of a mostly just, you know, texting now. I guess you could put your texts in kind of a handwritten scrawl that might resemble like a actual handwritten note or letter. But I haven't figured out how to do that yet. But I'm sure you can do that already. I'm sure that's anything special. But it's still not really putting pen to paper or pen to a card or anything like that. So anyway, but somebody asked me, and I thought I would address this tonight. I've been wanting to, it intrigued me when I got the question, and I don't think they were in any ways being, oh, this is really terrible. I don't know what's going on with that. Well, hopefully I won't get a copyright strike because the music's all broken up right now. Sorry about that. If that's a little bit aggravating. I did have, oh, what was that lady's name? Boy, I'm really feeling like I'm losing my short-term memory. Because let's see. Hey Siri, play last song. See if I play this. I had to downloaded some jazz music the other day, and I thought, well, I don't know what this is. Hey Siri, stop. Christmas in July, almost. I guess that was maybe that. Well, who was that? Was that Charlotte Church? Maybe that was Charlotte Church. Oh, anyway, I don't have that person's name that I downloaded just the other day, and if I turn this off, then it's anyway. Technology sometimes works when it does, and it's great, and when it doesn't, it's a real pain. Oh well. So this one person, I wish I had remembered their name. Again, I apologize. And if you recognize your question, at least know that I did read your comment, and I think I tried to respond in some way. So they asked, do you consider yourself a hedonist? And you could, it's interesting because, you know, a hedonist is somebody who kind of lives for pleasure. They're a person that wants to indulge their senses. So again, I think they were trying to say, well, you know, and again, I don't think they were in any ways trying to call me on the carpet or, you know, say you're a hypocrite or anything like that. I mean, I didn't feel at all like somebody was trying to take out after me, and even if they were, they did it in such a nice way that I didn't feel like, you know, offended or anything. But you know, they said, do you consider yourself a hedonist in some ways, in some regards? And I think that I would say no. Now, again, I can see why somebody would say, well, you kind of appear, you know, to be a person that likes, you know, pleasurable things. But I think the whole idea of hedonism is that you've kind of crossed the line into excess and to things that are considered truly decadent. You're really doing, you know, you're borderlining on immorality, you know, like orgies. You know, you're an absolute glutton and a drunkard, you know. You know, it's the excess. It's the pursuit of excess, whereas you know, virtue is the pursuit of excellence. And so again, I think You know, and I've talked about addictions. A lot of pipe smokers have talked about the phenomenon of addiction and those types of issues. And certainly, you know, nicotine can be habit forming. One of the things about being a pipe smoker is that it seems like you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get a little bit of that nicotine rush, just like coffee gives you caffeine. And I'll be honest, I am addicted to caffeine. I would never, you know, somebody says, oh, you're addicted to caffeine. I say, no, I'm not. No, I am, because I've had to give it up. And I've, in the last 2 years, have purposefully and successfully, I might add, given it up for Lent. But I have to say that I certainly do enjoy when I return to it. I know some people would tend to challenge me, and when I say I really am not addicted to my pipe, they go, well, you've been putting on pipe videos for the last 7-8 years. Yeah, but like I said, this is probably the first pipe I've had in over a week. I don't wake up with cravings for pipe tobacco. Well, this has set now probably 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, quietly just waiting for that day when it was the appropriate time to light up a pipe and try this. So, and it's not, and again, it's not me exercising willpower either. See, that's another thing. A lot of times people try to prove to themselves that they can go without something for a period of time, but they kind of white knuckle it. And I've never had to, when I put down my pipe, I can't tell you when the next time I'm going to smoke this. You know, I could, after I finish this, I could maybe even later have a bowl of this, you know, and enjoy that. And then I could probably put my pipe down for another 2 weeks or a month and not even pick it up again. And not even be like, oh, I need it. Now, I have to say, I think it was during Lent, because I think I did give up the pipe for Lent. I mean, not really consciously, like, I'm going to stop this pipe smoking thing. I just thought, well, you know what, I don't need to smoke, and I'll just kind of add that to my list of the things that I'm just going to kind of forgo during Lent. I think I did. Maybe I didn't. I can't remember now. Maybe somebody will pull up a video and say, oh, you're smoking in Lent. You know, maybe I was. I don't know. It's just like, it's not an issue. But I do remember not too long ago, maybe a month or so ago, I was sitting in my other study, and it was a warm, I guess it was just a warm, the room was warm, and it kind of started vaporizing some of the tobaccos that I have in a little dish that sit off to the side there. And I could smell some of the raisiny and fruity and tobacco-y sweetness that comes from those little pouches of tobacco as they kind of warm up, you know, sort of like a potpourri almost. And I was, I have to say, I think I remember, I kept thinking, well, maybe it was during Holy Week that I kind of completely gave it up for Holy Week, but I remember saying, you know, that actually smells pretty good. But I would think that way about a chocolate cake or some bread in the oven. You know, I think most people would. You can smell those delicious aromas, and they make you they give you a hungering or a hankering for that, and you know, so I mean, that's not beyond the realm of understanding for most people. Yeah, and again, I remember when my brother would come home and smoke a pipe, you know, that the wonderful thing that I would enjoy, that I can't enjoy really now, is the aroma, the room note, because I wasn't smoking it. If you're not smoking it, you get a chance to experience and enjoy the aroma of a pipe. And sometimes, for me, that was just, wow, it was like heaven on earth. You know, it was like, wow, something divine was, you know, infusing humanity or something. It was just great stuff. because, you know, I was a kid at the time, and, you know, there was a couple times I tried to talk them into letting me. I think I had a little bubble pipe, and I said, well, let me just put some of your tobacco in my little bubble pipe here. And they, no, we're not going to let you do that. I remember my first experience with tobacco was probably a lot of kids, at least at my age group, was the beech nut chewing tobacco. And, you know, it's a sweet tobacco, chewing tobacco. And I remember really enjoying that up until the point where I swallowed. And then a few minutes later, for about an hour, I was sick as a dog. And I don't think I chewed tobacco, the beech nut, until, I was in the Marine Corps. And again, I did the same stupid thing, thinking, I'm a man now, and I can chew tobacco, and I can swallow it. And I'll never forget, we were supposed to go for a run, and I had, you know, pulled out my beech nut and during a break, and, you know, other guys were smoking cigarettes, and maybe there was a pipe smoker there. And I pulled out my beech nut, you know, and I put a, you know, chaw in there, and I'm enjoying it. I love the flavor of it. Got to be honest, I love the flavor of that stuff. And so anyway, okay, guys, back in the room for class. And so instead of spitting, I'll swallow it. Half an hour later, we're supposed to go for like a 3-mile run, and I'm green, and this old gunnery sergeant comes out, and I've got my head between my legs. He goes, "What's wrong with you there, Marine?" And I kind of told him about my chewing tobacco thing. He goes, "Oh," he goes, "Okay, you're pretty sick, huh?" I go, "Yes, gunnery sergeant, I'm really sick." And he goes, "All right, you sit this one out." I got off lucky that time. This wasn't boot camp. This is my school in combat engineering, so I got to learn how to build bridges and then blow them up. Yeah, cool stuff. So anyway, there you have it. But yeah, chewing tobacco and pipes have always been something I've enjoyed, but and then there are times where there are some pipe tobaccos out there, and we all know what they are and what their names are, boys and girls. You know, was it? Is it? Okay. It's either what, Peterson's or Dunhill. Oh my goodness, it's one of the really potent, powerful ones. Nightcap, I think it's Nightcap. Or it might be Early Morning Pipe. I can't remember which one. One of those two really powerful blends, and you really need to treat them with respect. And of course, my favorite one that has always intrigued me is old Haunted Bookshop or Old Joe Krantz. And yeah, if I do Haunted Bookshop, you know, I know that I'm going to feel that one. So just like Nightcap and again, Old Joe Krantz, and even Pirate Cake to some extent, you know, those blends tend to be very, very stout, and you know, you need to really kind of, like I said, treat them with respect. But you're going to feel the nicotine punch in those for sure. So just be forewarned. But a tin like this, you know, or something like this, you know, I wouldn't say they're candy or they're you know, they're not to be taken seriously, but they're basically a good basic all-round tobacco, and I think you can go on, was it Pipe Reviews or whatever, and you can find the nicotine, you know, how strong it is. And so if you're really into super heavy nicotine tobacco and you're looking for that nicotine punch, you know, maybe you're a former cigarette smoker and you're trying to, you know, quit, and you're going over to the pipe there and you still kind of need a little bit of a nicotine punch, some of those tobaccos will definitely give it to you. So getting back to, you know, the idea of being a hedonist, again, I think that that has a lot to do more with deliberate excess. And, you know, again, there's a difference between somebody, you know, maybe enjoying something. You know, it's a, you know, God made us as sensate creatures that we can taste and touch and smell, and yes, we can use those senses in a positive and in a good way. So I wouldn't consider myself a true hedonist. Although, to be honest, I would say that when in my earlier years, yeah, I did overindulge in alcohol a lot. I did do that. I'm guilty of that. And, you know, eating lots of fast food all the time, real guilty of that. That's one of the reasons why I, 5 years ago, had to really reevaluate my weight, my diabetes, and realize that I can't do that anymore. I mean, you know, occasionally, you know, I'm going to go to a friend's house. Father's Day was a day, was one such day, and I did, you know, have a nice meal, but they kind of, you will eat some of these potatoes. You know, it's like, it's not an option, you know, okay. And I think I had maybe, did I have any bread? I don't know if I had any bread, but I did have potatoes, and I did have some carbs, and I gotta be honest, I felt it. I know it, and I kind of, without being too destructive, had a few days where I kind of said, okay, I'm gonna kind of gotten out of ketosis, so go ahead and, you know, maybe have a little bit and see if I can just start to, instead of going like, you know, going hog wild and just going crazy, can I enjoy it for a small period of time and then kind of cut it off. So I was able to do that last week. Last Wednesday, I did have a little bit of wheat, which I shouldn't have because it's so bad for you. I love it. Had some bread because I had bread, or at least I had some. Maybe I did have a few pieces. I think I did have a couple pieces of bread along with those potatoes. Anyway, but hey, you know what? I didn't, you know, so Thursday, actually Wednesday night, Wednesday afternoon, I just had the last piece of that, and I said, okay, we're done with this. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, went back and just basically vegetables and my basic ketogenic diet, and you know, it's like, okay, I was able to kind of successfully not go overboard, which was kind of a nice thing. It's like, okay, you can do this. Now, it wasn't easy because I had to consciously, you know, Wednesday night, I really wanted to order a pizza or, you know, go out and get some hamburgers. And, you know, I said, you know what, you know, we've had our carbs. Now let's get back on and not use it as an excuse to just go crazy again. And so, you know, like I said, I'm kind of happy because I was able to do that and just enjoy, you know, that moment with some friends. And I really did have a nice meal. In fact, it was a delicious meal. And I didn't have like seconds or thirds. I had one beautiful meal, one helping of everything. And actually, and they were very moderate portions. They weren't like, you know, loaded, you know, with scalloped potatoes and, you know, a whole half a loaf of bread and stuff like that. No, it's just like, I think I had 2 pieces of bread, come to think of it. And then the scalloped potatoes and a nice, beautiful steak and some asparagus. And I said, wow, that was a delicious dinner. So anyway, so I just kind of digress. You know, I do believe that that Jesus enjoyed a good meal. You know, he did enjoy drinking wine in moderation. You know, and as evidenced by the Last Supper. And again, I know that's the Seder meal, and it's not like a drinking, you know, where drink, you know, Prost and all that. It's not like that. But they had like 4 cups of wine, and obviously Jesus was never drunk. You know, I would never say that he was. Now, although it's interesting that he says that people said that about him, that he was a glutton and a wine bibber, because he did go to parties and he did drink. So, but he did it in moderation. He did it in true moderation. So, again, and then he also ate meat and fish, we know. You know, he ate the Passover meal. He was a good pious Jew, so you have to eat the Passover lamb. So I know some vegans try to say, no, he changed the Passover meal by eating just bread and wine, and that's not true. That's not good biblical exegesis. You know, and people can try to make a lot of cases, and in fact, you know, in Acts 10:13 or something like that, you know, the sheet comes down with all the animals on it, and the voice of the Holy Spirit says, "Peter, rise, kill, and eat." And he goes, "Oh, I would never do such a thing." And the voice is, "What God has made clean is clean." You know, and you can't hold it in contempt. So anyway, I know some people would tend to disagree based on their philosophies of life. And you know, I've told people, if they're vegans or whatever, you're welcome to your beliefs, and I salute you. But you know, I do think that human beings are they are clearly omnivores. We've been omnivores most of our history. I don't think, honestly, you could really do. I don't think that the whole world could really do and sustain a quote-unquote vegan diet, nor would we even want to, because in order to do that, you'd have to eat a lot of processed vegan food. And I think the thing that we're learning more and more is that all processed food, whether it's you know, whether it's the stuff you buy in the store for just basic, you know, with meat products, or like TV dinners, or anything processed, it basically isn't good for you. So there's a lot of new processed vegan stuff, but it's all processed. So, and then they do ridiculous things like say, "Hey, Oreos, they're vegan." Well, eating Oreos isn't really good for you. You know, eating there were some other things like cereals, boxed cereals, probably one of the worst things you can eat. Grains, and you know, it's vegan. Well, you know, it might be vegan, but it's poison too. It's poison. So anyway, but again, if a person chooses to be a vegan and they find it is helpful to them, and they feel good about that in their body and their soul, I say, God bless you. But to try and force veganism on the whole world, I just don't think that's realistic. I know some people, there's a few people that disagree with me on that one, and that's okay. But you know, and let's see, did I eat any meat today? I can say I didn't eat any meat today, you know. Basically, in fact, I guess I kind of walked into another fast day. I just had my coffee, and now this pipe. That's it. I'm actually thinking about doing another week fast, and kind of been doing this on again, off again fasting, where I'll fast for a week and then maybe go back to eating. And I've been kind of experimenting with that, only just to see the end of it. Like when I come to the end and I go back to just eating regular food, am I having problems with my digestion? Because that's usually something that's always been a bit alarming for me, because I'm always afraid that it's going to mess that up. And the last couple of times that I've done an extended 7-day fast, and I've just eaten a normal meal, nothing, and I don't like go out and gorge, but I'll eat a meal. I don't have to do anything super special. I take my vitamins and my supplements during the fasting, and that seems to be okay. And so when I do reintroduce solid food, I'm having a normal transition. Things seem to, pardon the pun, come out okay. That's kind of, I don't know. I've always been afraid that maybe I might, you know, do something that's going to be injurious when you reintroduce food to your. But again, I'm not, like I said, I'm going out and eating a couple of pepperoni pizzas and chocolate cake. I mean, I'll go back and have like my steamed vegetables, a little bit of meat or fish, and that probably much will do it for my breaking of my fast meal. And I don't seem to have any complications in my digestion that way, so that's good. So, so maybe I will take up another fast this week and just kind of see if I can kind of, again, whittle that down, Still got the pain in the leg there, but I'm just trying to live with it the best I can. It's not as bad as it was, but it's still persistent. It's still there, and sometimes it's annoying. But I'm still able to function, and I'm getting to the point where I'm probably just going to start going out for my walks like I did, you know, and even if it hurts. I was talking to another priest. He's an elderly priest, but he's like in his 80s. And he's actually started walking again after heart surgery. And he's like 82, 83. And great guy, still got all of his marbles, and he's still physically fit. But he said, you know what, I started walking again, and I feel fantastic now. I said, because he was having some problems that his post-operation on his heart. He even had a couple of mild heart attacks, I guess. And so, but anyway, he said, no, I just got to get back into walking. And it was hard at first, but now that I'm doing it again, I feel great. So I think I'm going to have to take his advice and follow his example. And even though it's sore and it hurts, maybe it's atrophy that I'm actually dealing with now. Maybe because I'm weak, and you know, I need to really build up those muscles in my legs and my glutes. So that's probably what I need to do. But anyway, so I was kind of digressed there about the old hedonism thing, but it was a good question. Thought it was a good question. So I guess I'm almost at the end of this pipe here. There is one other topic. I guess I'll go ahead and got a little bit left here. I'll try to, you know, talk about this other topic here. And that is the incivility that's going on in our country today. And that really concerns me. When you start calling everybody Hitler and Nazis and, you know, equating what's going on at the border with, you know, concentration camps, and now you're attacking people because, you know, whether they agree or they don't seem to be as vociferous against something, and you're now attacking people to the point where, you know, you're trying to shame them publicly, and you're getting in their face, and you're basically you're asking for trouble. It's okay to tell people I disagree with you. You know, I disagree with a lot of people, and they know it. But I don't tell them, you know, that basically what I try to say is live and let live. I may not agree with you, as I've said so many times before, but at the same time, I'm probably not going to be showing up at your doorstep, yelling at you and screaming at you and waving flags in your face and telling you that you're a bigot and you're hateful and you're a Nazi. And I mean, I'm probably not going to do that. Chances are really good you're not going to see me do that. In fact, you know, again, we have lots of people that even come to my little church, and I know that their politics are probably 180 degrees out from mine. But we try, and I think for the most part, I think we try to be at least cordial, civil, even friendly, respectful, kind. You know, and, I know that some people kind of know where I stand on some issues, and I know where they stand, and for the most part, I think we can and we have agreed to disagree. I have a couple of people who will even talk to me and say, well, I know you feel this way. And I'll say, I'll try to listen to what they have to say first. If they press me and say, well, what do you think about this? What do you believe is right, the right thing? And I'll say, well, you know, for example, the thing at the border, I tend to believe that natural legalized immigration is wonderful. It's good. We need to welcome people, but we need to do it through the channels of law. I mean, I don't know what the problem is. I mean, I think I've said this before. If I wanted to go to another country and immigrate, I'm going to have to abide. I'm going to have to go through their process to become a citizen, whether it's in Germany or Japan. And that's just the way it is, and I have to respect that. I mean, in the long run, to be a legalized citizen, you're going to get all the benefits, and you're not going to get a lot of these people that live in fear. And, you know, so I'm just saying, I think that's the way to go. And again, you may have a different opinion about that. But just because I believe in the rule of law, and I do believe a nation has a right to borders, it doesn't mean that I'm a bigot or I'm a hateful person. I'm not. But unfortunately, now, the new tactic on the left is to just excoriate people and yell and scream at them that they're these evil, horrible people. And they're justifying basically allowing themselves to be outrageous instead of courageous. And I can tell you from personal experience that when you get impassioned about something and you use that to go beyond the pale, what is considered civil discourse, you're on thin ice. You're not on real solid moral ground. You may think you are, but you're not. Because when you use your anger to justify treating people in such an odious way, you're wrong. And you just don't see it, but you're wrong. Again, it doesn't mean you can disagree. You say, oh, I don't like the president. I don't like the policies. Okay. Well, you know what? We have a thing called elections. You know, put something on the ballot. You know, if you wanted to ask the nation, do they want to be an open border country, and you want to put it to a vote, put it to a vote. But to try to force people because you think you have the moral high ground, I think that's wrong. And it's destructive, very destructive. And we're seeing it now. I just sent a little, not a tweet, but I get on the little news thing, and I comment on a lot of news things. I think I'm almost out of this, so we're almost done with this video, Pipe Pals. But, yeah, if, you know, sometimes I get on there and I'll voice my opinion. Now, I have people who will call me idiot, asshole, you know, jerk, you know, it for brains. You know, they'll just start going into the gutter. You know, oh, you're stupid. Yo, you're an idiot. Yo. You know, I don't do that. And I'll say, I think you're wrong. I think, especially when they say something that I feel I have a little bit of competency, I'll say, I think you're showing your ignorance and your lack of understanding of scriptures. I'll say that. I don't say you're stupid. I think the strongest thing I've ever said is I think your ignorance is showing in this regard, and I'll say why. But I don't really call them a name. I try not to do ad hominem attacks because it's pointless. But I certainly can be very strong in my opinions. And I will say I don't agree with this. I think it's wrong. And some people don't like that. So, okay, that's fine. It's a free country. So, at least it is now. So, you know, again, I would hope that people will, again, and I said in this one, I said, I think we're inching closer and closer every day to civil war. I hope not. But that's my concern. I mean, when you start attacking people in restaurants because you don't like their policies or their politics, wow. And you're going to get a group of people to oppose you and oppress you. That's wrong. That's just plain out wrong. Again, some people might want to say, well, look what that cake guy did. He refused to help the gay couple. Well, if you really look at that, he didn't. He didn't want to design the cake, but he was willing to sell them cakes that he already had. And he kind of tried to explain to them, you know, hey, this is just where I'm at. You know, and he tried to accommodate them the best that he could without compromising his convictions. So, again, I think that, you know, again, these people that have been ousted out of restaurants have literally been, they weren't like you know, somebody could have said, you know, I know who you are. I just want to say that I really think what's going on is bad and wrong, and I oppose these policies. But you could have still served them. But I think that the people who have been kicked out have taken the high ground, because they said, okay, fine, fine. You know, good libertarians, whatever, that's your right. If you don't want to serve me, that's okay. I can go somewhere else. And they did. I don't think you're going to see that to become a Supreme Court issue at all, because I think most people realize that, okay, but to attack people and to treat them that way when there's no need for it, I think that's wrong, okay? But again, yes, it is a free country, and so if you are a business owner and you feel that you don't want to serve a certain group of people, okay. A lot of the other things that have been coming to light are things that some of the things that have been portrayed as being what people think they are really aren't. There's a little photograph of the little crying baby. That little crying baby was never ever separated from her mommy, and they made it out to be that way, and that's just false. It's a false pretense. And again, separating people when you've done a crime, and to cross over illegally is a crime, you know, they're going to separate the families. And also, a lot of things people are now finding out that there are these people that are coming with children. The children are more like pawns. They're insurance things for people that are trying to cross illegally, and they're not even related to these kids. They just, man, it's actually pretty bad. I have to say, it is pretty bad. But what they will do is they will certainly take those kids and put them in a place that's safe. And I think that people are making a big, they're trying to color something and make it into something that it's clearly not. And that's wrong. That's wrong. You're trying to project your political opinions based on faulty facts, faulty evidence, okay? False evidence appearing real, you know, fear. And I think that's wrong. I think that's really, really wrong. Now, you can say, I don't think it's a good thing that we separate families. Well, it's not a good thing. No one says it's a good thing, but it's a temporary thing, you know. I was actually thinking about playing with images on this video. I was going to put up some images of kids behind chain link fences. And the kids, I was going to have pictures of kids of Little League. They're behind chain link fences. We're caging these kids. Yeah, that we are. Or seeing kids playing soccer behind chain link fences. Oh, we're caging these children. It's terrible. Or I was going to show some pictures of kids crying their heart and eyes out. And I was going to say, you know, do you think this is pictures from the border? And actually, they're pictures from the first day of school. Little kids crying their hearts out, bawling like little babies, because it's the first day of school and they're being separated from their mommies. Terrible, tragic. So, you know, it's how you see things and how you portray them, and are you being honest about that? And I can tell you that nobody is being rounded up and sent to concentration camps and showers, okay? Somebody said they actually are sending them to the showers. Maybe they are sending them to showers to get a real shower. They're not gassing anybody. There's no crematoriums. There's no death camps. I mean, but to people to equate that is irresponsible, and it's immoral, I think, because you're doing a disservice to the people who really did experience those horrific things, and you're being dishonest. It's called hyperbole. Can we all say that together, boys and girls? Hyperbole. So we need to kind of take a few steps back. We need to dial it down. We need to dial down on a lot of the rhetoric and the outrage. Again, you can have your opinions, and you can feel whatever you want to feel, think whatever you want to think, but to then force other people, trying to coerce them and excoriate them because they don't believe the way you do, that's wrong. That's just wrong. So that's all I guess I'll say for that this video. Been just kind of wanting to kind of get my 2 cents out there. And if you want to, share what you believe and you want to, tell me why you believe that, that's great. No problem. But anyway, so hope you enjoyed this little pipe video tonight. I'm going to try to upload it. Again, no special effects, just kind of a little pipe side chat here with my newfound discovery of Ceylons in the blue can, and my old wonderful little old Dunhill, my first cherrywood Dunhill, using my old boy with a Softy Bit. Yeah. Okay. So I think that'll be it for tonight. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend some of your time with me. Really do appreciate it. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you soon.